Yes. So over this last weekend, I had what is probably the worst service at a couple restaurants that I've had in my life, and really that's a pretty bold claim for me to make because I've had some very very shitty service in the past, and this weekend just kind of put it all into perspective, I suppose. And and the thing is, I'm not unreasonable about it. Like, I understand that if I go out to a restaurant on a Friday or a Saturday night, odds are I'm probably going to have to wait to be seated, and beyond that, I'm going to have to wait a little bit to get my food. Or, if my server has a few tables, they're not going to be at my table every couple of minutes. I understand that, and I go into it with a reasonable expectation. And I'm still just horribly disappointed. Like, a couple nights ago, the server we had would not clear anything off the table when we were done with it. So it got to the point where we had accumulated enough plates and glasses on this, and bear in mind this is a two-person table, it's not very big, to the point where we didn't have room to put anything else down. Like, they brought us our next drinks, and there was no place to put them. They just stared at the tower we had going of empty glasses and walked off. Like, you're already standing there, and I know you're walking back to the kitchen. I can see where you go. All you would have had to do was pick them up, take them with you. It doesn't seem difficult. And it's just the refusal to do even the most basic things. These people just need to pick a new line of work. And I've worked in restaurants a lot over the last 10 years. And it's not that difficult. It's a very, very basic part of the job, and there's no excuse for it not getting done, and it's one thing to just kind of be absent-minded about it, but to walk by and stare at it. I mean, stop and fully take a couple of seconds to stare at this mess of shit on this table, and just to turn around and continue to walk is frankly inexcusable. And and they deserved every bit of that tip that they didn't get. They deserved to get zero tip, and that's exactly what they got. Because if I don't get service, you're not going to get tipped for service. It's very simple. And I was just appalled by this. I was like, this is if it's really so difficult for you to wrap your head around that idea, maybe you should find a different line of work. Because really, that's just it's basic. It's not even like this is some kind of difficult abstract idea of if you want to go above and beyond you should do this. This is waitstaff 101 we're talking about. And then on the heels of that, the very next night, decided to go out for a late meal to a 24-hour restaurant, and it wasn't even like midnight yet, maybe 10 or 11 o'clock at night. And there were only a couple tables of people sat thinking, oh, this shouldn't be too bad, there's only a couple people here, should be able to get right in. And we just stood there at the front, and nobody would seat us. For almost 5 minutes we stood there, until one of the cooks walks out of the kitchen. Hey, does anybody work here? Can we get something? I said, well, I'm just a cook. I say, okay, well, can you do something? And so one of the cooks has to seat us because the hosting staff and the wait staff just couldn't be bothered just to seat people. I mean, frankly, at that point we should have just turned around and left, but there aren't exactly an abundance of options on like a Sunday night at 10:30 or 11 o'clock in Lincoln. I mean, everything closes down here. And that's just how it starts off. After that we spend 10 minutes sitting at the table before the server even gets to us. Didn't have a glass of water, nothing. And I mean, it just keeps getting worse. And once they finally get there and bring us our drinks, it's another 10 minutes before they come back and take our order. As in, we have now been in the door 25 minutes and have not ordered anything, while there were maybe 3 other tables with people. Absolutely inexcusable. Only came back to refill drinks once, and the whole time I was there. And as anybody who knows me will absolutely attest to, that does not fly. I mean, when I have a server that recognizes me, they've been known to bring me several drinks at a time, and occasionally pitchers. They get tipped well, by the way. But again, these are just such basic things that you think, keep people's drinks full. Like, that is really what I'm going to base a tip on, above and beyond anything else, is did I have a drink? I mean, it sounds like a small thing, but that's it. I don't care if the food takes a while. If the kitchen backs up, it happens. I've worked in the kitchen as a cook, and sometimes things take a little while. But as long as the servers can just keep an eye on me, keep my drink full, that's really the easiest way to keep me happy. And like I said, I'm not unreasonable. But if I'm going to sit there and wait and be thirsty, then I get upset. And when I'm upset, you don't get a tip. Minimum, you don't get a tip. Beyond that, I mean, if it's just above and beyond worse, I'm absolutely not above talking to management, saying, seriously, what is the deal? These people, okay, it's 10:30 or 11 o'clock at night at a fucking Perkins. Fine, if you're wait staff there, maybe your life didn't quite pan out how you had in mind. I get that. That is not an excuse to make me sit there for like 20 minutes thirsty. No excuse. And that's the thing. I don't expect much. I expect to be seated when I can, to have just a very minimal amount of attention paid to me, because I'm not a high maintenance customer, with the exception of how quickly I consume drinks, which I realize is actually like frighteningly quick compared to a lot of people. I don't know. It's just how I am. But it seems to me like that's just such a basic thing. People just don't seem to get right. I mean, a lot of people do. I've had some, like I said, some fantastic servers that have gone and said, well, I understand that I can't get back to this table very quickly, and in the time it will take me to get all of my other stuff done and get back, that guy will probably have gone through 3 or 4 drinks. Maybe I should just bring him 3 or 4. And it's that kind of thinking that, okay, that's great. It's not just, oh, well, I can't get back. Sucks to be that guy, And that seems to be what people are doing. It's like they don't even bother. Like, people don't think they have to work for their tip anymore. It's like, if you don't do anything, I shouldn't be tipping you. Like, you haven't done anything good. You haven't cleared anything off the table. You haven't brought me a drink. You haven't paid any kind of attention. And then we get like these dirty looks, and the tip just says like an X or a 0, because you got exactly what you earned. You are tipped exactly based on the service I got, and if I don't get any fucking service, you don't get a fucking tip. That's how it works. So just any of you who are in in the industry, my condolences first of all, but you don't deserve shit. You get a base wage and are expected to earn tips above that. The word I stress is earn. I'm not going to just give them to you, and I don't think other people should too. People are like, oh, I think I should give them a 10 or 15% tip. Fuck that. It is up to you to earn it. You don't get to just show up, do a half-ass job, and expect that I'm going to throw $5 or $10 down on the table because I feel bad for you. To hell with that. You are going to earn your tip, or you're not going to get one at all.